Hey y'all. I actually had no intentions of picking up the camera today. I gotta find my snips. Are my green snips in that basket? Yep, thank you. I actually had no intentions of picking up the camera today, but both babies are napping, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go outside for a little bit. There was a couple of things that I wanted to do. I got a long sleeve shirt on, y'all. I should have changed shirts, but it was very impromptu, like, let me go outside for a little bit while I can. The babies are napping, the big kids are keeping an eye on them. Like I said, there were a few things that I knew needed to be done out here. Oh, I gotta show y'all this. Look at all of the butterflies. I really don't even know if it does it justice seeing it on camera. They are just, they're so beautiful. I love it. One of the things I wanted to do was cut some flowers to make a bouquet for in the house. The other thing I want to do is the elderberry bush, which is right here. Some of them are ready, not all of them. The ones that are, I'm going to go ahead and snip off, put in a bag to put in the freezer, and as they ripen I'll just keep adding to it until I have them all. Maybe I'll just sit here and watch bees and butterflies. I went ahead and snipped off some of the flowers that had already bloomed and done their thing. And now I'm going to do the elderberry and anything else that I want to get done out here, and then come back and snip my flowers for the bouquet at the end. So here's what I was talking about. This one has some that are ripe, some that are not, but I'm going to let that go just a little bit longer. The one back behind it, I'm going to go ahead and snip that one off, probably that one over there. The ones towards the top are still very green and they need some more time. So I'm going to go ahead, I may go ahead and snip this one too. It's one of those things too where we're trying to get to them before the birds. We've hung up some, I don't know if you can see it, see up right there. Right over there, there's a metal pan. We've hung a couple of those on here to try to keep the birds away. I think I may go ahead and get these three right here, and the ones that are still really green, I'll leave those a little bit longer. This one's mostly ripe as well. I'll have to decide on that one. It still has a pretty good bit of green. But you can see on these, especially back here, that those are all ready. I'll just keep adding to my bag as they get ripe, and I'll keep them in the freezer. It'll also make them really easy to get the elderberries off of the stems, because once they're frozen you can kind of shake them and they'll fall off a little bit better. So that's what I'm gonna do. These are gonna go in the freezer for now, and as I keep ripening, we'll add more. Some of the sunflowers on here are starting to die, but I'm going to show you, look at this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 flower heads open at the very top of this sunflower right now, and several more that will eventually open. I love sunflowers. This garden spider is hanging out between my cucamelons and this sunflower. It's one of the reasons why I've left this cucamelon here. I mean, obviously it did fantastic. And it's still got blooms and some tiny fruit coming on it. But this guy's been hanging out in there. I've told y'all before I don't like spiders, so I've been looking at it from a distance. But it's actually one of the good guys, so it's been hanging out in the garden for right now. What's next on my list? I want to pick some green beans and make some leather britches. That's not a way that I usually preserve green beans. And Mama and Papa didn't ever really do that either. I think it goes back a little bit. I'm saying, let me rephrase that. They didn't do it much while I was around watching. It's a little bit older of a preserving process, especially when money was really tight. Canning jars were hard to find. Canning jars were expensive. Leather britches were a way to preserve your green beans. And I've already done some. I'm going to pick some more. Maybe I'll take you along with me as I string those up and get those hanging. Grab my basket. Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and I have picked and picked and picked off of this. This right here is off of 2 plants that I planted mostly to be decorative and go up this little hook that I had here. And I've picked so many beans off of them. We have some of these same Kentucky Wonders planted over in the other garden too. I didn't really expect these to be as bountiful as they have been, so it was mostly just for decorative purposes. I've gotten so many beans off of it. I've picked several times for us just to eat, added some to what we were canning, made some pickled green beans, so that's been really nice. It's still going.
I can feel there is somebody here, and he's watching over me tonight as he takes away my fears, lets me know there's a heaven up there. Yeah, he's reaching out his hand to me to wash away my tears. Oh, I know you, and I praise you. Got my arms open for your love. Oh, I want to be near you. I hear angels from up above. They sing hallelujah. They sing hallelujah. I can see though my eyes are all closed. Yeah, he gives me strength to carry on and always lets me know that I'm fine just the way he made me. Every perfect imperfection is all because of him. Oh, I know you and I praise you. Got my arms open for your love. Oh, I want to be near you. I hear angels from above. They sing hallelujah. They sing hallelujah.
I am still very much learning about flowers, and I hope, I'm doing my best to, when I cut these, cut them in a way that encourages more growth. And so far, so good. They're doing really good for us. And these zinnias, they stay pretty for so long. I actually snipped enough to make a bouquet for us and for my mom. The kids made her one a couple of weeks ago, and a few days ago she was bragging about how it still looks beautiful. So we're going to make her another one and make one for us too. May go ahead and cut a couple sunflowers to add to it. They don't stay pretty quite as long after you cut them. Sunflowers in general have a pretty short span of being bloomed and open and big and pretty, but they still look nice in a bouquet. So I think I may get one of those to add to it. I got a fresh shirt on because I was sweaty and freshened myself up a bit. Wyatt is still asleep. Fletch woke up while I was outside, but he seems pretty happy and pretty content right now. So I think I can still get done what I wanted to get done. I've already put those elderberries in the freezer. I literally just tied up the bag and put them in the freezer, and now I'm going to work on these flower arrangements and then leather britches. These are the leather britches that Audrey and I have already got strung up. I'm going to show you how we did it, but you literally just string them and hang them to dry, and you leave them hanging to dry until you're ready to eat them. First thing you want to do is break the ends off the beans and string them. I'm just going to set them to the side until I'm ready to do the next step. And this is absolutely something your kids can help with, even younger kids. I remember not doing this, not making leather britches per se with my mom, but breaking beans with my mom as a young child. And my kids help. I had made a community post, I think, and said something about breaking beans. There were a couple people that said it's not called breaking beans. What did they say it was? Snapping? Is it snapping beans? Is that what they said? I have never heard anyone here call it anything other than breaking beans. I've never called it anything other than breaking beans. I grew up breaking beans. I started doing a little bit of research because I thought, well, you know what, it's probably an Appalachian thing. Probably, you know, something that we say here in this area, and other people may as well. But it is. It's, I guess, just what we call it around here. Breaking beans. And the pieces that I'm breaking off of the end I'm going to be giving to the chickens. So nothing's going to waste. Another thing I can remember Mama, she was always very particular about, and you know, when we were young kids, she wasn't very strict on us. She just let us help. But as we got older, she made sure to show us that, you know, you don't break, and I'm hesitant to even do it to show you. You don't just break a whole big piece off of the end. You break the very end off. You don't waste any of it. I can't make myself do it. I can't make myself break a big piece off. But you know, sometimes my kids do, and that's okay. I know that my mom wasn't me when I was little. And then as I got older, she taught me different. I broke the ends off, set those over to the side. Those will go to the chickens. Most of these I'm going to leave whole. Some of them that are real big I may break in half. And I have a needle and some fishing line. The first time I tried to do this, I tried to just use regular thread, and they were too heavy and snapped it, which I kind of thought they might. So I've been using fishing line. You could also use unwaxed dental floss. And if I had a bigger needle, it might be a little bit easier, but this one works just fine. So what I'm going to do is just, so for the very first one, go through, don't poke yourself. I'm going to pull it, I've got my line cut, I'm going to pull it to almost the end. Then I'm going to wrap the line around it and tie it, because that's going to be the base. I want it to be nice and sturdy.
Don't like pull it too tight, because then you'll pop the green bean in half.
Yeah, yeah. Audrey said don't pull it too tight. I mean, you want it snug, but don't just pull real hard, because it'll cut into your green bean.
Because I did that.
Did you do that on the last ones? So I wrapped it around and tied it. Now I'm going to wrap it one more time and tie it so that it's on here nice and secure. And then after this one, the rest you just string on. You don't want to push them down real tight. Just get them all on here. And then they'll hang and they'll dry. And when it's cold this winter and we want some green beans, we'll have some. Sliding on. You want to kind of keep them laid out so that your line doesn't get tangled. It's not complicated, y'all. It really isn't. gonna hang just a little bit different. So the others, I just made a long string, left some extra line, and tied that up in my pantry. This one, I'm going to tie around this last bean like I did at the other end, so that the beans are secure on both ends. And then I think I made this one a little bit longer, and I'm gonna drape it over one of the wires in my pantry so that it hangs from each side. And I can decide which way I like better. Now those can just hang there, make sure they get some good airflow, and they can start drying out.
I'm so glad that I decided to pick the camera up and take you along with me on this afternoon. I sure enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.